Okay,
Yeah.
so let's say we have a polynomial f of x equals 5x cubed minus 18x squared minus 11x plus 12. So Descartes' rule of signs, first you're looking at the coefficients as they are written.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at how many times it changes sign. So it goes from a positive to a negative, and then it goes stays from negative to negative. So we're not going to count that one. And then it goes from negative to positive. So it changes signs twice. And so that means that we could have two positive zeros, or we always subtract 2 until we get something that's 0 or negative. So we could also have 0, positive 0. So they always come in pairs. Then you would need to check what happens if you plug in a negative for x. So I'm going to, instead of f of x, we've got negative x. So everywhere I have x, I'm replacing that with negative x. Using the same function, just now I'm plugging in negative x's. And we need to simplify. So I'm going to actually show more work than I usually do. I'm going to stick in a negative 1 there. So I'm just putting a 1 in front of all the x's. Oops, and that 3 should be out. So when we simplify this, each exponent goes to the number and to the variable. So I have 5, and then I have negative 1 cubed times x cubed minus 18 times negative 1 squared x squared. And then I can just multiply negative 11 by negative 1. So that's going to give us a plus 11x plus 12. So now negative 1 to the third power, anything to an odd power like 3, if it's negative, it stays negative. So that's going to be a negative 1 right there. So this is 5 times negative 1 x cubed. Then we have minus 18. Negative 1 squared is a positive 1, so that's going to be times 1. And then everything else is staying the same. And then I'm going to multiply 5 times negative 1, so I get a negative 5x cubed minus 18x squared plus 11x plus 12. And once you've simplified that, then again, you look for those changes in sign. So I go from a negative 5 to a negative 18, so those are still staying negative. Right. But then I have a negative 18 to a positive 11, and then I stay positive when I look at 12. So I'm only changing sign once.
Mm-hmm.
And so that means we have one negative 0. And then you would be subtracting 2, but that gives you negative 1, negative 0s. You can't have a negative number of things. So we only just have one negative 0.
Makes sense.
And so that's what Descartes' rule of signs gives us. And then that allows you to kind of narrow down when you're trying to find factors. It kind of helps you narrow down what numbers you should try.
So the answer for the positives, would it either be 2 or would it be 0? In my eyes, it would be 2 positive zeros, or it has to be both.
Both of them are possibilities. We don't know which one.
I see.
So you would like have an or in between there.
So even if it's, say, 6 positive zeros, it would also be or 0 positive zeros.
Yeah, if you had 6 positive zeros, you keep subtracting 2. So you would have 6 positive zeros, or 4 positive zeros, or 2 or 0.
Okay. So whatever it is, minus 2.
Mm-hmm.
Subtract 2 until it hits 0?
Yes. Yeah, or you go below 0.
Now, if it, so say it's 3 and you subtract 2, it's 1, and you subtract 2 again, it'd be -1. Would
Yeah.
that suffice for the -1 below?
So then you just wouldn't write that one. You would
Okay,
just say, okay, that's just not a choice.
fair enough.